Hello, everybody. Welcome to this. Oh my god, what just happened? Totally on purpose. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this TvT Group C Home Story Cup 23. It's Clem versus GuMiho. This match will decide who moves on from Group C and who is out. We basically have the chance of having a three-way tie between Clem, Elazer, and GuMiho. Clem won over Elazer, but Elazer won over GuMiho. So if GuMiho managed to win over Clem, then we have to play more matches. But if Clem wins, GuMiho's out. Maybe there's map score matters and Clem or GuMiho is still out, but for now, suffice to say, it's a do or die for GuMiho. Now, I'm a Zerg player, so I don't know everything about TvT, so we're going to approach this with curiosity. And hopefully have a good time watching some StarCraft. Now, we do notice that the GuMiho has a later gas than Clem. And Clem is scouting with an SEV, whilst GuMiho is electing not to scout, taking a second gas as well. And they're both going straight into the Reaper, with GuMiho having a factory right away. Quite possibly for Hellions. Those seem pretty good in this matchup. Whilst Clem is going to make a bunker. Oh. He was ready to make a CC, and then he scouts GuMiho, and he's like, oh, but you're not making a CC. Okay, so he elected not to make the bunker, and when he got his full scout, he probably started the bunker when he saw no CC. And now he makes a factory of his own. No add-on just yet. And there comes the reactor. We see a second Reaper on the way for GuMiho. No CC just yet. But looking at his minerals, there will be a CC right now. With an early Hellion. Clem now also getting a second gas. With a later factory and only one Reaper. I don't know, I feel like GuMiho's position is a little bit more comfy. You have more units. Your CC is on position, on location. And also you have some aggressive potential. So we see two Reapers and Hellions moving in. Checking if Clem wasn't greedy and put down the CC on the low ground regardless. Although looking at the time it finished, he could have done that and then just took a little bit of damage from the Reaper Hellion on it and then lift it if he really needs to. But now he can make... Oh! He can make SCVs there. GuMiho actually dove into the base, but we saw some really nice micro coming out of Clem. Managed to pick off a couple units. One Reaper, one Hellion. And Clem still playing the perfect game. Hasn't lost a unit just yet. You see in the worker tab, Clem and GuMiho pretty much dead even. GuMiho has slightly more army supply. We see a Raven on one side and a Banshee on the other. Both players electing to go for a Cyclone. No Cloak. We see another reactor on the barracks there. So they're both going into marine production, I assume. Let's see if we see more barracks going down to get some of those bio upgrades. We see third command center going down for GuMiho really, really quickly. So he's definitely making an economical push. Raven coming in for some harass. Auto turret is down. It killed a Hellion. The new auto turrets are kind of weird. Last time I really played against them was when they were really popular. And they would open like 1 or 2 ravens and continuously throw them in your natural. And they would last so long that you needed to deal with them. But these look kind of underwhelming. Now we see GuMiho's Banshee moving in, getting 1, 2 SCVs. There's another raven, secondary raven. Indeed, 2 ravens and a siege tank. We see stim underway for Clem. Whilst we see 2 more factories being added on for GuMiho. So GuMiho is going into mech. Also we have Clem going into bio. Clem losing a few more SCVs to the harass of that 1 Banshee. Seems like a pretty worthwhile Banshee. 4 SCVs in total. And of course a little bit of mining time. He delayed a gas, I'm pretty sure. And we see 3 racks. Stim on the way. No engineering base or armories just yet. Disregard that. There's an armory on the way for GuMiho. And as we say that, also an engineering bay for GuMiho. Another Banshee sneaks in. Trying to get some work done. Gets 2 SCVs. Gets killed by the auto turret. Third base for GuMiho is on the way and he's already starting his gases. He really wants that gas. But Clem is in position to hamper this expansion. Kills a couple SCVs with his auto turret as well. And in position, so these gases are delayed. And he killed a couple SCVs, so 6 SCVs bite the dust. GuMiho hunting that little SCV killing squad. In the meanwhile, Clem is deciding to move out whilst taking his own third. And starting his double upgrade. So I feel like this push won't be that committed. He's just going to try and get his tanks into position. Make GuMiho defend. And then most likely back off. Barracks in position to see any medevac doom drops going in, or just the pesky raven. I scan for Clem to know what's up. Lockdown on that 1 tank, allowing Clem to get a nice position with his own tanks. And now this third base has to be lifted. Tank in the main though, getting a few nice shots off. GuMiho is getting +1 vehicle. Because those upgrades do help with one-shotting those Marines. GuMiho has a nice amount of vision with these Vikings. He still hasn't landed his orbital yet. And on the other side of the map, he is doing some harassment, but failed to kill any SCVs. Clem defended. Really awkward for GuMiho to not have this third base. I feel like he should have leapt forward already. Oh, and now he gets scanned on. And immediately Clem stims in. Kills 1 Viking, 2 Viking. And now focuses down 1 tank. And hot pickup gets out of there. He's just denying this third base for so long. And finally the answer, a Liberator. GuMiho being able to shoot Clem away from here. But Clem doesn't have the inkling of stopping his assault. He just keeps running in. Trading up. He has a third base, fourth base underway, and he's just producing units non-stop. Hasn't started his 2-2 yet. He's just trying to do maximum damage to GuMiho, whom is now just saturating his third, really. Like, it's 9 minutes and he's barely mined from this base. Really awkward position for GuMiho. Hellions looking for some damage. They did find 1 SCV building that 4th CC. +2 on the way. And 1 vehicle plating. 4th base for GuMiho as well. Oversaturated on his third base. Getting +1 plating for himself as well. Of course, pretty good against Marines. Have some armor. These aliens are keeping Clem back quite effectively. A little bioforce, making sure GuMiho is not taking a fourth without, you know, having to fight for it. Another Marine chilling at the other potential fourth location. We also start to see Vikings coming out for Clem. Fourth base done for Clem. Going to land at a location, and we see a big move out by GuMiho now. We see 6 tanks, bunch of Hellions and Vikings. Really scary force. If these tanks get into position, GuMiho can use his superior Viking count to keep the vision, whilst Clem has to spend scans for every time he wants vision. Of course, tanks shoot further than they can see. Makes total sense. Fourth base being denied by this cheeky move out from GuMiho. Meanwhile, we have Clem being annoying in the third base, dropped on top of the tank. And Clem now has air superiority, but he doesn't have the force to overwhelm GuMiho's force. Oh, and the tanks can barely reach over here, so every time he does have vision, stuff dies. And now, finally, he drops on top and stims in an attempt to kill these tanks off, since most of them are not in siege anymore. So this is a very good trade for Clem, barely losing any units for all of these tanks. All of them bite to dust. GuMiho's still up in supply, though, pumping out those mecha units. Making a PF on location, and now both players take a fourth around the same time. I thought Clem was really ahead economically. But GuMiho did a very nice attack over here, claiming that position and making it hard for Clem to fight there. Clem not having any liberators to cinch that position, and did end up having the overhead in the Viking War, though, which allowed him to eventually clean it up. Surprised we only see 3 factories, just 3 factories continuous production and 3 starports, really doubling down on that Viking air control. Also on Clem's side we see only 2 starports. I see your 2 starports and I raise you 1 more starport. It is nice for GuMiho, though, to have these Ravens. Fusion core being added on for Clem. Maybe looking for that advanced ballistics, liberator range. Blue Flame Hellions with +1, getting these 7 SCV kills. So what I was saying about the Ravens really help with the lockdown on the siege tanks, really help you jockey for position and move into a position where there is tanks, but now those tanks are not firing. So you can take the position anyway and then immediately take care of those tanks. So in that sense, Ravens are really good, which is a reason why you want to have Vikings. Another reason is vision, and the other reason is liberators. It's all about having tanks in position and keeping them there. 5th command center for both players. Wow, 6-1 for Clem even. So we're slowly moving into the later stages of the mid-game. Players are almost maxed, and the tech trees are getting fleshed out quite a bit. Fusion core also done for GuMiho, which uses it to make a lone battlecruiser, whilst Clem is using it for advanced ballistics, and he actually added on another starport. Because I see 6 Vikings here. 1, 2, 3. Maybe I missed that earlier. So now there's another starport. So it's really just air Terran here. Big air Terran war. See large clumps of Vikings strolling around, 5 blue flame Hellions find a juicy backline of SCVs. They're gonna get the click. 8, 10 SCVs down. Pretty nice find for these cheapo Hellions. And Clem has to move back as well to defend. Meanwhile, Clem doing some aggression of his own, getting 2 SCVs from this building CC and maybe another one. Marauders trying to get some value. Another orbital was made in the main, is now moved to the 5th base. You see sensor towers going up, and we see a pretty tight trench war developing. 2-2 armory upgrades on the way for Clem now. Only +2 vehicle weapons on the way for GuMiho. GuMiho's 1 vehicle, 1 air, and 1 armor. Oh my god, that's a lot of Vikings. How many effing Vikings are there? 33 versus 25 of Vikings. That's a lot of boys. My Zerg brain is like, well, Vikings are not good units, but in TvT apparently they are. You see turrets on the way even. GuMiho recognizing that his Viking ball might not be big enough. And of course, he's maxed, so using his minerals on static defenses is valuable, or it's just value gained. And we'll dispose of these right away. Whilst GuMiho moves towards the other side of the map, outside of the sensor tower vision, to try and maybe catch Clem off guard. Damn, these Hellions are actually doing some work on the Marauders. Marauders do have 2-2 though. But the Hellions have 2 armor, so they are pretty sturdy. GuMiho walked all the way around and now is in the 3rd base of Clem, whilst Clem is on the 5th base of GuMiho. They kind of passed each other by, now creating an awkward position for the both of them. 5th base of GuMiho is going down, and the 3rd base of Clem is also dead. Now Clem can run into the 3rd base here. Sees this 1 BC, he's like, nope, 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 I'm out. Let me send my 1,300 Vikings to clear that 1 BC up real quick. All these Vikings. Another CC bites to dust. Clem moved his main CC towards the 3rd base in an attempt to quickly reestablish it. But GuMiho cut him off. He's like, no, I know what you're doing. And that CC gone. What an awkward position for Clem. He is maxed, however. Got 3-3 bio on the way. And he already has 2-2 for his Vikings. Whereas GuMiho, even though he was mech, is kind of lacking in that department. His Vikings have less upgrades, about to equalize. But Clem starts as 3-3 mech. Or 3-3 air upgrades, with the plates being both for air and ground nowadays. Jesus. Stuff is happening everywhere in TvT. So you have a nice siege tank siege on the, let's call it the 5th base for Clem. The Vikings are jockeying for position. These turrets coming in clutch, making sure that if GuMiho overextends, he takes a lot of damage from these turrets. The Dorito cannon did light up Clem's air units, but is about to expire. All of GuMiho's Vikings moving in. Very hard to tell who has more Vikings than the other one. Oh, and GuMiho's siege tanks actually take down the CC. Clem is now on 3 bases, and Clem actually lands his Vikings so that the Vikings of GuMiho can't shoot them anymore. Liberators getting some value shots off, but still die. Ooh, 3 Liberators, 4 Liberators. Oh my god, it's very hard to get in range of these Vikings without just getting insta-bopped. And GuMiho lands all of his Vikings in the main base of Clem. This is so cool. Meanwhile, Clem also did a nice little attack here in the main of GuMiho. They're both trying to establish some foothold in the production of the other player, but GuMiho definitely has more. Damn, this guy has 43 Vikings. Literal mass Viking maniac. And Clem GG's out. Damn. GuMiho takes the first game with 43 Vikings. What did I just watch? And we head on over into game 2, Clem versus GuMiho. GuMiho took the first game on Dragon Scales with a very large Viking number, just landing on the production of Clem and annihilating it, forcing Clem to GG out. Now we're here on game 2 for Gresvan. GuMiho needs this series to have a chance of getting out of Group C, because only top 2 advances. We see another quick gas from GuMiho, so curious to see if he's going to do a similar build to last game, where he gets a quick 2 gas and gets a factory and gets his CC a little later. But Clem is also going double gas a little later. Slightly faster barracks for Clem. Immediately filling it up with SCVs. These guys are really hungry for the gas. So I'm assuming both sides will throw down a factory immediately. Nope, we see a reactor on Clem's side actually. Before any factory is built, as GuMiho makes a Reaper and then a factory. We see a factory now by Clem. Orbital as well for both Terran players. Let's see what Clem decides to do with his reactor. Do you make Marines? Do you make 2 Reapers? Double Reaper. So this looks like there will be some early skirmishing here. GuMiho actually took out of gas after being able to afford that factory. So now probably wants to afford a CC a little earlier by having his mineral saturation be higher. So GuMiho is out and about scouting Clem's base. 2 Reapers are about to spawn to deny this Reaper anything. There's now a CC on the way from GuMiho and a CC on the way for Clem. We see a tech lab on the factory for GuMiho this time around, so probably going to opt for pretty fast cyclones. Also, we have just double Reaper Helium production for Clem. I feel like you really need to move out early, and I think it's a good build for this map because there's no ramp to the net. Okay, we see two Hellions, 4 Reapers meeting each other in the middle of the map. Nice micro by Clem, actually manages to focus down GuMiho's Reaper without losing his own, and now 2 more Reapers and a Hellion are joining the fray. Clem is going to move out. What can GuMiho do against this? He has his units out and about on the map as well. Clem is going to show up at his doorstep and be like, "Hello! Where are your defenses, my man?" 2 more Reapers and a Hellion on the way at Clem's home base, so he can actually defend. Wow, Cyclone holding it down the fort. Whilst GuMiho is being annoying. Clem's natural, killing the SCV, making the CC. Whilst also denying that gas. He did lose his Hellion there. And Clem can just focus down the CC. Can GuMiho shoo him away before Clem just focuses it down? Kills the SCV. He's now focusing the Cyclone. If he gets this Cyclone, it's going to be dicey. The Cyclone stays alive. Second Cyclone joins the fray. So this CC might have been saved. Or is Clem going to double down with his reinforcements and just dive on in for those Cyclones and this very low health CC? GuMiho is going to quickly finish that bad boy up, so now he can fly it away if he needs to. Makes it into an orbital right away. Clem already has an orbital. GuMiho still being annoying in the main base of Clem. Gets 2 SCVs for his troubles. 1 Hellion bites the dust. Oh, but the medevac! Being able to stop the targeting from the Cyclones. How annoying for GuMiho. Once a Cyclone has targeted onto something, you can't retarget for a little while. It goes on cooldown. And Clem just dives on in. And GuMiho has nothing left to defend his base, losing all of his SCVs and has to tap out to Clem. What a quick and ferocious game by these two. And just like that, Clem evens it up 1-1 versus GuMiho with some very, I would say, early aggression, just pumping out the Reapers and the Hellions consistently. And GuMiho made Cyclones, which are very good units at killing these units. But he couldn't quite defend, and then that sick medevac showed up to continue the aggression. And instead of being to lock on the medevac, GuMiho locked on to the units because the medevac was being held back, so it was hard to target it down. And Clem could just pick up the unit that was being locked on by the Cyclone. And as soon as you pick up that unit, the Cyclone stops locking on. And then it's just, he only has his pea shooter left because his lock-on is now on cooldown. So actually really cool tactic coming out by Clem. Being able to cinch that game. And now GuMiho has to prove that the first game wasn't a fluke. Or Clem has to prove that the second game was the fluke. Because GuMiho played a pretty nice and methodical game the first time around. So we see the quick second gas, or 2 gases from both sides again. But now we see two barracks from Clem. That's a new thing. We haven't seen that before. Expecting a super fast. No, wow, okay. No super fast factory by GuMiho this time around. Usually he starts his Reaper and his factory right away, but now his factory is a little later. And we see 1 Reaper and a 2nd Reaper from Clem. So opening up slightly different to the first 2 games. Interesting to see what position that will bring us in. 3rd Reaper on the way for Clem. Also we have only the singular Reaper out for GuMiho with a 2nd one on the way. And also a factory. We also have a factory for Clem now, whilst GuMiho's factory is almost done. So I think the worst thing for GuMiho is here to hop on into the main base, meet the 2 Reapers of GuMiho, or of Clem. Just meet the 2 Reapers of Clem right away and then just get killed for free. He does get 1 SCV, that's nice. Oh, he meets... Oh no, he's boxed in. He got sniped. He got ganked, as we say in the Dotes. And now we have 3 Reapers against 1 Reaper. GuMiho really has to scramble a defense together here, because this is another natural without a ramp. I think this is why Clem favors these high Reaper/Hellion counts. Because he can walk into the natural without having to walk up a ramp. Almost kills that low health Reaper. Oh, and he does lose an SCV here. We mass repairs. Loses 1 Reaper. Also manages to kill 1 Reaper. New Reaper joins the fray. Another CC is in danger of not being completed. GuMiho really wishing he had made this one on the high ground after he lost his Reaper in the natural of Clem. 3rd Hellion joins. He thinks this is enough. 1st Hellion dies. Targeting the Reapers. Kills 1 Reaper. 2 Hellions dead though. Loses his Reaper as well. He was trying to target them down. 2 low health Reapers. Oh, and the Hellion... Oh, didn't get his shot off. Now there's 2 Hellions and 2... Or 1 Hellion, 2 Reapers in his natural. And he literally has a Marine and a Hellion. This game is being played on a nice edge right now. Sending out another SCV. He really wants to finish this CC and just lift it. Save that CC. If this CC dies, the game is pretty much over. We also see a starport here and a starport with Cloak. And he actually cancels the CC? Holy moly! And he doesn't start a new one right away? GuMiho is so behind. My god. Clem literally has his one finished and it is an orbital. Clem forced to cancel. This madman that just euthermal-esque Reaper spam is paying off big time. Trying to pick off this reactor. These Hellions kind of out of position. Kills a Marine and a and an SCV, second SCV. Almost kills a Hellion as well. Finally the... Oh. I thought the Hellion was going to die to the grenade there. The Banshee is here. The anchor, as it may. And oh, another CC. I love this. I hope he floats it over. That's like a ninja base of sorts. But Clem is in the driver's seat, as we say, of this game right now. He's making a Raven. He's seen the Banshee, and he knows the only way he loses this game if he's behind on Econ somehow. So he just throws down a third CC as well. And if GuMiho can't outgreed or punish this, Clem is just going to sing his way to victory. Ooh, does need scans for these cloaked Banshees though. This is a good trade for GuMiho right now. Not amazing, but decent. Finally getting his second base, and he's going for Banshee speed, baby. He knows he needs to get something done with the advantage that he has, and super fast hidden men are pretty good at that. Will force Clem to make more detection than just these Ravens, I think, or at least spread them out over his bases. It wouldn't surprise me if it forces him to make a couple turrets, and, more importantly, to stay back longer, so that GuMiho can set up a defensive line and re-expand himself. So GuMiho only has his third orbital slightly faster than Clem, even though he rushed it out as soon as he could. So not as big as a comeback mechanic as he thought it would be. Clem is 10 workers ahead, and it has a bigger army. So it's a little dicey for GuMiho here. Is electing to go into mech again, adding on a second factory. Putting his tanks on the cliffs. And I was going to use his super fast 3 Banshees to see if he can get something done. I like these Marines trying to get some vision of what's going on. These Marines are going to meet mid-map. I think this... Yeah, the blue Marines started shooting earlier. So we'll win that exchange if they keep on fighting. This annoying Marine is stopping the third base from landing. And Clem did confirm that there was no third base yet for GuMiho. Which would basically signal Clem to go for sharp timing to go and kill him. If that base was there. We see 2 engineering base, so 1-1 will probably start pretty soon. Clem opting for the bio style. Third base is down for GuMiho. Where are those super fast Banshees? We haven't really seen them do anything yet. I feel like they should have done something. Oh, and the Ravens provide enough vision. If these Ravens weren't there, those tanks would be giga dead already. You would just get a flyby and he would be killed. I like the gamble by GuMiho, going for this high Banshee count. And if these Ravens weren't there, or the Ravens were somewhere else, he can suddenly just one-shot these siege tanks. Honestly, I don't know how many Banshees you need for one siege tank, but I feel like 4 or 5 would be the number. We see 3 Vikings at a time and 2 siege tanks at a time. GuMiho's just digging himself in here. Just like, please let me have my third base. I need to mine, I need to max, and maybe we can play this game then. So these Banshees kind of swarming around the Terran force, kind of like a mutaflock. Not really opting to do any harassment in the main, the third, or the natural. Did force some turrets though. So that is nice. Clem shells down a singular turret and is just super ahead in army supply. So what he needs to do is he needs to find a way to get his foot in the door and then to just pry the shell of GuMiho open with the crowbar that is his giant bio army. Banshees did get repaired. Still sneaking around, looking for any stray units reinforcing in. But Clem is not doing that, and he rushes in to the third base. Just doesn't use a crowbar. He's more of a sledgehammer type Terran. And wow, look at these Banshees getting that value. Killing those tanks, but the orbital actually got shelled down. He did not repair it. And GuMiho just taps out. He knew that that third base was his leash on life. If he can keep that, max, or at least get even with Clem, he can play this game. But Clem said no, and he just smashed that turtle shell in half. Turtle power. Guys, thank you for watching. And I'll see you in the next one, where we go for Group D. Because now we know that Clem and Elazer made it out of Group C. So one group remains to see who the last two players are to join us for the playoffs of HomeStoryCup 23. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.